What's up, sports fans? This is the Lucas Ross Sports Channel. We continue here with my 2024 predictions for the upcoming 2024 college football season. The Kansas State Wildcats are up next. Kansas State coming off a pretty decent year last year, going 8-5 overall in the 2023 season. So this was a pretty good team and also a pretty decent team as well. My thoughts on this team, though, for 2024, I think they have a chance to be a pretty decent team once again this year. Heading into the Big 12, they probably could be one of the favorites to win the Big 12 conference as well. You look at this roster, you look at the offensive side of the football, they're going to have a new quarterback. Will Howard transferred away over to Ohio State. So with him gone now, you got options at quarterback. You got plenty of options there. We're going to find out who the starting quarterback will be at the end, at the end of the offseason. But I think the offense, is going to take a step back from where they were, the last 2 years. It may be not quite as a decent offensive team that they have been in the last couple years, but it could be an average type offense. You never know. This is a very consistent Kansas State team. And then defensively, I think they're going to be pretty good on that side of the football. They have a good amount of production coming back on the defense, so I think the Wildcats defense will be pretty solid. So let's go ahead and get right to the schedule here for 2024. This is the schedule here for Kansas State. Again, they were 8-5 last year in 2023. So let's go game by game now and give you a record prediction here for the Kansas State Wildcats for 2024. First game of the season, they'll open things up here with UT Martin on August 31st. I think the Wildcats get an easy win here. They start off 1-0 pretty easily here for 2024. That's a game right there. They probably should score 40 or maybe 50 points in that game. So I think Kansas State starts off easily at 1-0. And then after that, it's on the road here at Tulane on September the 7th for their second non-conference game. Tulane probably not going to be the same team as they were from last year, but you don't really expect an easy game here once it comes to against the group of 5 teams. Tulane, this game is on the road. But I think Kansas State definitely is the better team here. Tulane probably not going to be the same team like they were in the last couple years when they made it to a New Year's Six Bowl. And then, of course, last year we're really close to making it to another New Year's Six Bowl. But either way, I think Kansas State definitely is the better team here. I think Kansas State does get off to a slow start, but then they find ways, to really win this one big. I don't think it's going to be a blowout here, but I think Kansas State will win this one fairly easily still. So I got the Wildcats starting out 2-0 here on the season. And then after that, it's a home game against Arizona here on September the 14th. And you could probably say that this is their Big 12 opener, but it actually is not. This is a non-conference game. This goes back to the Utah prediction that I did a couple days ago. And, I did say that, Utah and Baylor. That game was actually scheduled from the year before Utah became a full member of the Big 12. Same thing like this game. Arizona, before they came a Big 12 newcomer and everything, this game was actually scheduled as a non-conference game, so they're going to keep it that way. This is a non-conference game. I think this Arizona team is definitely going to be a little bit different with a new head coach and everything, but this is going to be a very good Arizona team. They probably are definitely one of those contenders that can make it to the Big 12 championship, but Kansas State is playing at home in this one. This is a pretty even matchup. I'm going to go with the home field advantage, though. I'm going to say that the Wildcats do beat Arizona here in the Battle of the Wildcats here between these two teams. So I got Kansas State starting out 3-0, and then they play on the road here at BYU on September 21st. BYU might be a little bit better this year. This game is on the road, so it's definitely one of those trap games here to start out the year. If you're a Kansas State fan, I don't really expect a blowout in this game. I think Kansas State, though, is definitely the better team here in this one, but I definitely could see this game probably going either way. Maybe it's a close game in the first half. I think second half, maybe the Wildcats probably pull away here from the Cougars. And so I think Kansas State, they do go on the road here and beat BYU here on this one, and that puts their record here at 4-0. Next game is at home against Oklahoma State here on September 28th. This will be a home game here for the Wildcats. Probably another big-time game here, of course, in the Big 12. Like I said a couple days ago when I did my Oklahoma State video as well from last week, I did say that Oklahoma State and Utah is probably the biggest game coming up in the Big 12, but this is also a big-time game as well. Potentially 2 undefeated teams maybe coming into this matchup as well. Oklahoma State's going to be pretty good this year. They're going to have a very talented roster, but so is Kansas State. Like I said, I think both of these teams are pretty even between these two teams. And I've already done my Oklahoma State video from last week, and I did choose Kansas State to win this game just because they're playing at home. Again, every game in the Big 12 is going to be very competitive, and that's the reason why I'm just going to go with home field advantage in almost every single one of these Big 12 predictions. So I'm going to go with the Wildcats here. I think they beat Oklahoma State here and remain undefeated, and that puts their record here at 5-0. And then they get their first bye week here before playing on the road here at Colorado on October the 12th. This is going to be a tough game here for Kansas State. You know, Colorado going to be a lot more better this year. I know a lot of people are not, really excited to see what Colorado does this season, but this is a team that's going to be pretty good. You know, they do have a lot of production coming back. They also brought in some transfers to help them out. And the fact that this game is on the road makes it very tough to call here for me. Colorado, I think, is going to be really fired up for this game. Kansas State potentially coming into this game as a top 15 team and also an undefeated team as well. So with that being said, I think Colorado definitely plays really well in this game, and I think they give Kansas State their first loss of the season. So with that being said, I'm going to go with the upset here. I think Colorado gives Kansas State their first loss of the season, and that puts the Wildcats' record here at 5-1. And then after that, they'll play on the road here at West Virginia on October 19th. So things don't really get easier for Kansas State. Back-to-back road games here against Colorado and West Virginia, two teams that maybe could be top 25 teams. I think West Virginia definitely has a more better chance of being a top 25 team than Colorado does in the preseason, but this West Virginia team is going to be really good. They're going to have a really strong offensive team, and then defensively you do have some concerns there, but I think West Virginia playing at home in this one, it's hard to go against them when they're playing at home. I've also kind of been back and forth on this game as well, just like the Colorado game was, and then of course Oklahoma State. I'm going to go with West Virginia here just because of the home field advantage. So I'm going to give back-to-back losses here for Kansas State, and that puts their record now at 5-2. Next game is at home against Kansas on October 26th. Of course, a rivalry game that anything can happen here between these two teams. Kansas, pretty much came close to beating Kansas State last year. It was definitely a disappointing loss for the Jayhawks. Kansas actually was a lot more better than Kansas State last year, in my opinion. But this year, the Wildcats do play the Jayhawks here at home. I think it's going to be a very interesting game here between these two teams. It definitely could go down to the wire. But, Kansas State is playing at home in this one. I'm going to go with home field advantage in this one, and also because it's a rivalry game, anything can happen. You never know what can happen as well. But I'm going to go with the Wildcats here. I think Kansas State is definitely the better team here as well, and I think Kansas State does bounce back after two straight losses on the road at Colorado and at West Virginia. So I got Kansas State now improving to 6-2 here on the season, and then after that they'll get to the month of November. They play Houston here on the road on November 2nd. I'm not really that high on the Cougars this year. Don't really know how good they're going to be. So I think this game, even though it's on the road, it probably could be a tricky one, just like the BYU game. Definitely a trap game, to be honest. But I think Kansas State definitely is the better team here. So with that being said, I think Kansas State does win this one fairly easily. And then after that, they get their second bye week here before playing Arizona State at home on November 16th. This will be a home game here for the Wildcats. Don't really know how good the Sun Devils are going to be this year, just like Houston is. Arizona State wasn't really that great last year, but they had a first-year head coach and everything, so they may be a lot more competitive in the Big 12 this year, but I think Kansas State definitely playing at home. I think you're going to have to go with the Wildcats here in this one, so I'm going to go with Kansas State here to defeat Arizona State, and that puts their record here at 8-2. All right, Cincinnati is up next here on November 23rd. This will be a home game here for the Wildcats. Cincinnati might be a little bit better this year, but I just don't think they're going to have the talent to really compete against this Kansas State team. So with that being said, I think this is another fairly easy win here for the Wildcats, and I got them improving to 9-2 here on the season. And then the final game of the season is on the road here at Iowa State on November 30th. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Iowa State this year. This is going to be a veteran experience Iowa State team. You look at both sides of the football, a lot of returning production coming back this year, a veteran team and everything, and also they got the second most production coming back in the country. I don't understand why people think I'm wrong on this, but Iowa State is going to be very good this year. I think this will be a very tough game here on the road for Kansas State, but it's going to be a very competitive game like it was last year. And Iowa State did surprise a lot of people last year, beating the Wildcats on the road. Could the Wildcats return the favor and beat the Cyclones on the road? I don't really think it's going to be enough. I think Iowa State playing at home with a veteran team that they have, I think they do pull off the win here and give Kansas State their third loss of the season. So I think the Wildcats will lose their final game here of the regular season. So I got Kansas State finishing with an overall record of 9-3. That is my prediction here for the Kansas State Wildcats for 2024. Maybe that's enough to probably make him into the Big 12 championship. We'll see what the standings look like at the end of the year. So far, of all the Big 12 teams that I have done so far in these predictions, all of them have been 9-3 predictions for Oklahoma State, Utah, and then of course Kansas State now. So there might not be a 10-win team this year in the Big 12, but either way, my prediction here for Kansas State for 2024 is 9-3. So let me guys know what you think about this Kansas State team down in the comments below. What do you think their record will be for 2024? Thanks for watching this video, and stay tuned here for more sports content videos on my Lucas Ross Sports channel.